husband says so often to me, you need to trust me more with the baby. For moms, this is hard, especially because intuitively, we know that we're the best at putting our baby to sleep. We know that we're the best at feeding them. We know how to get them to the best state at any given moment. Even though we are at zero energy, we always trust that we can do it better. What are the ways that we can ensure that the husbands or the partners, the baby daddies of this world are also given that freedom to do their best with the babies?
So that starts off, doesn't it, right at the beginning?
Correct.
It starts off actually before the beginning, doesn't it? It starts off with the kind of relationship that you've got with your partner. And it's about trusting them. It's about trusting them generally before you're trusting them with our baby. But we feel like this baby grew inside me and it's my baby, and, you know, I'm the person that can do this the best. And you probably are. But we need to give them like little trusts at the beginning so that you start to really cut that umbilical cord between you and the baby. And you trust them when you're around so that you can trust that baby to them when you're not around. But it's no good saying to me, how can I get him to help at night? Because, you know, he never does anything. If right from the beginning you've said, I can do that, you're doing it wrong. What she needs now is. So it's no good saying, well, he doesn't help at night if you've never let him help change a nappy while you watched. Or if while he's been changing the nappy, no, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to, no, not that one, this one, not the pink one, the white one. You know, so you've got to give that trust from the beginning. And a lot of men, because their hands are bigger and are not as dexterous, are frightened of small babies. So give them the trust that they can handle and build on that trust. But do it from the beginning. And so that's in the short term. It's like, how is this going to help you a little bit later if he's learned to handle the baby and he knows that he's trusted with the baby? Because he's not helping you.
Correct.
He's the dad, right? You know, I said to one dad, he told me quite proudly, I've been babysitting for 2 hours. And I was like, right, ticked off with it. And I said to him, sweetheart, let me tell you something. You're the dad. Dads don't babysit. Dad's parent. That's your job. You're not helping her. You know, like she's in bed now because she's been up every night for the last 7 nights and she's having a 2-hour nap while you babysit. I don't think so. That you're not helping, you're parenting. So he got a good ticking off. And I only did it because it was a friend's husband, not a client.
Oh, you're welcome. Just go ahead. Anytime, Jen.
Yeah, you know, they're not helping. They are parenting. And it's not your responsibility to raise this child. It's your responsibility as a unit to raise this child. And the only way that you can get them involved is to let them be involved. So your generation, you need to let the partners be involved, whether that's a husband, a partner, another wife. You carried the child, you birthed the child, but now it's a joint job.
So I think it's the boomerang of this disconnect where everything is so thrown at women, all of this responsibility about the baby. And then because of this, we're so, I have to, okay, it's only me, that needs to keep the baby alive. That then when men start to feel relaxed or are growing into their role as parents, we have such a hard time of letting them do their thing, and then we deprive them of really becoming the best versions of
themselves.
Yeah, and so it's so interesting because it's the stem of this disconnect at the beginning. We really need to be able to tackle it together prior to even giving birth. And I think as you also change the definition of the partnership, it's no longer just a romantic partnership and so on. I think this is also
a nitty-gritty lifetime thing now. Whatever happens to us in the future, we are forever going to be bound together in some way by virtue of the fact we have a child together.
Well, so my husband says to me, and with this he tells me everything. He says, I am so relaxed when you're not around, when I'm alone with the baby. then I know that she will be good. But I'm so anxious when I know that you're around, because if you just hear the baby cry, you're coming in, what did you do? Like, what is happening, and so on. And I understand this completely. So he has his activities with her. They go grocery shopping. He takes her for walks and hikes, and they take baths together. The baby is genuinely happy that she has her one-on-one time with daddy. And for men, especially because they're deprived of this experience of carrying the baby, spending actual physical time with them, that really brings them closer. And the kids start to respond more to them, and they start to trust them more. So it is also our responsibility to really make sure that this happens.
You know, it is. It really is. And, you know, you're made a mother the day that your baby is born, but you grow into being a mum. You know, and a man is a father, but he's got to grow into being a daddy. And it's all about relationship, isn't it? It's about your relationship together, and then the relationship with the child. But what I'd say to you and your generation of women as well is look forward. And please, please, please start to raise your boys with the same dignity and respect that we've put so much energy into raising our girls. So that for the next generation, it will become easier, because it will just be more natural. It will be what the boys expect to do.
Right.
That the boys expect to be part of this.
Nowadays, when we are with friends, and then the men say to me, almost trying to make fun of my husband, well, does he ever change a diaper and so on? And my husband always proudly says, yes, 100%. Yeah. Sometimes I do it more often in a day than she does. So he kind of wants to crush their ego as well, and say, like, you know,
it's not girls' work.
It's not girls' work. We are both parents, and I find it to be the sexiest thing that a man can possess is this pride and joy and acknowledgement of their responsibilities as our partners and the fathers to our kids. So I think it is changing. However, it is really important to talk about it, and it's harder talking about it with women that have given birth to their sons 30 or 40 years ago. Yeah. I don't think we can reverse this issue by talking to women who are moms to boys that are already grown up. But I acknowledge a huge step forward, speaking to men who are of generation of my husband, and seeing my husband completely acknowledges it and is completely aware of it. And he's now spreading the same attitude amongst his friends.
I mean, I go into lots of different homes every month, and I meet the dads who are, well, it's her problem. She really needs to be able to sort this out, and I can't believe she's brought you in, because she should just be able to deal with this, just a child. Right through to the family that I went to, where it was probably my toughest sleep coaching night ever, where the child woke every 47 minutes through the night because he was used to sleeping in bed with the dad. And so we would just go in after 47 minutes, the little boy would see, okay, you're still there, and he'd lay down and he'd go back to sleep. And then the next night he was fine. But then the dad called me 2 weeks later and he said, I really miss him. And I'm like, you put him back in that bed with you and I will kill you. You know, like, after all that, I will kill you. But that dad was doing all the nights because his wife was no good on no sleep and he was better. So, you know, like, we've got big extremes going on at the moment, and things are changing, but it's going to be your generation that really change what happens next,
right?
Because of the way you raise your children.
We all love our kids the most that we can, regardless of how we choose to raise them, the way that we want them to sleep, or how active we are in our motherly responsibilities versus work responsibilities. Where do you think this lack of understanding and empathy and proper education about what parenthood really entails come from?
Well, I think that it would be good if there was more education about what motherhood is at school, and you were taught more than the functions of how you get pregnant and how you conceive a baby or how you don't. And there was more education around relationship and the emotional and the psychological and the spiritual impact of bringing a child into the world. You know, so that in those early days at school, like when you're teenagers, when you're thinking about this journey that is hopefully going to come to you in your adult life, that you are more prepared as a person for the responsibility and the joy that comes with bringing a new little human being into the world, rather than just making it about function.
Right.
It was a much more holistic subject that was tackled at school.
Jan, a new challenge has risen.
I don't think I like where this is going.
We, as you know, live a very international life, and my baby is a very portable baby. And I think the first flight she ever took, she was 11 days old. There's many things that I will do differently with my second baby. The first time is always the hardest time. And I learned a lot about, and I'm still learning, how to assert myself and how to say, no, this doesn't work for me and for my baby. And if it doesn't work for me, it means that it doesn't work for my baby, and vice versa. Which I had a delayed reaction to everything that motherhood is because of the trauma that I've experienced. So I was in this, what the hell is happening place for months, and just being so overwhelmed with everything. But now things are going really well, and my baby has a routine and so on. But every now and then, actually quite often, we expect her to adjust quite quickly to a new environment. So we were in LA now for a month, and I must say, in one day, she was amazing. She completely adjusted to a 9-hour difference. She was sleeping in her little bed. Everything was jolly. And then she got sick. We ended up getting all so very sick. And what can you do except bring your baby over and sleep?
Give them what they need.
Give them what they need when they are not their best selves. And anytime the baby is sick, really, it helps them so much to be close to their parents and have that physical touch and so on, which made me then much sicker as well because she was so close to me. So all of us getting so sick, she now got used to sleeping next to me, because it really took 10 days for all of us to start feeling better. The problem now is I put her back into her little bed, and then she gets quickly up on her feet and she's waiting for me, looking extra cute. Boo boo gaga boo 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 do do do. And she will not fall asleep. Instead she starts crying, but I mean just the most hopeless cry that breaks my heart into 1,000,001 pieces. And I cannot help it but to get her out and to finally bring her to my bed, because at one point I get so exhausted trying to take her out 1,000,001 times. I hurt my lower back now because I've been taking her out, putting her back in, and doing all those necessary steps that you helped me establish to ensure that she sleeps through. Now she is like a little
Jack in the box.
Exactly. She gets up, she even undoes her own sleeping bag, and she's just waiting for me there. Look, mommy,
Clever?
I'm so clever, and and you now left me here to freeze to death, and and help me out, mom, do you not love me? And what can I do then to take her in my arms?
Okay. So
you are needed. Please come and stay with me.
I'd be delighted. I'd be delighted again. The first thing I'd say to you is her body clocks got scrambled on the way back from LA. So we've got to allow for that. She wasn't well, so you gave her what she needed, but now she's fine.
Yes.
And she can sleep in her own bed again. But she's got used to that, and she prefers being with you. What we do know as well is that inside of her, now she's a good little sleeper, but she's also an opportunist.
Yes.
So all it will take will be for a couple of nights where she doesn't get in bed with you. But we've got to be really strong about, hey, Maxie, everything's good now. We're home, you're well. This is your bed, kid. And this is where you're sleeping all night. And for 2 or 3 nights, we've got to be completely consistent in that. She's also showing off because now look at me. I can get this sleeping bag off. Look how dexterous I am. I can stand up. Aren't I clever? So I'd say, why don't you look for some padded pajamas rather than a sleeping bag, so that we can get rid of the sleeping bag but zip her into something, pop her into something, so she doesn't get cold, so that when she does go to sleep, you've not then got to struggle to get her into something that she's wriggled out of because she's escaped. That would help going forwards if we change what she sleeps in. And then we just need to go back to something like, hey, Maxie, everything's good. Let me give you a cuddle. Now let me lay you down. And then let me just leave you for 30 seconds to get on with it yourself. And then to go back, hey, Maxie, everything's good. Let me just lay you down again. And I know you can do this. And leave the room again. Then go back after another 30 seconds. Hey, Maxie, everything's good. And let's just bore the pants off her until she realises that this is her bed now. She's not getting into your bed. Just lots of cuddles, lots of laying back down. Don't lay her down and then when she pops up, lay her down again, because she's just going to think that's the biggest game ever. Give her space.
Yeah, she's even laughing. I mean, she's like, haha, joke's on you, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
That's right. What are you going to do now then? What are you going to do now? And also make sure there's enough time between the end of her nap and when you put her to bed to make sure she's tired. Because if she's not tired enough, she'll play that game for hours.
So it's either that, or if she's overly tired, which moms usually think, oh, if I exhaust her and I take away the naps, then she will sleep through. And usually sleep-deprived babies are even grumpier and they sleep much more.
Do you know why that is? That's because sleep deprivation in small children affects the same part of the brain that alcohol affects in adults. So basically, when you've got an overtired baby, you're going to see what they're like as a drunk when they're grown. So
oh my goodness.
Some of them get like really sleepy and really dozy, and others get really a bit manic and a bit nutty and, you know, going around like the Duracell bunny, like, and a little bit crazy.
See, there's the whole science that we have no idea about that needs to come out.
We should talk about the science of it all.
Right.
Another time.
So, Jen, because I was such a hero in the first part of educating our cuteness, how to sleep, can you take care of Daddy these 3 nights that you will be saying, that he takes care of the baby?
Leave Daddy to me.
Exactly.
I just really would want to say again, this whole mum shaming thing, it's worse the last 15 years than it has ever been, I think. And that can change, you know, but that change really does have to come from each one of you. And each one of you making that mindful decision that I'm not going to do it in any shape or form. And I am going to be the one that looks to the little comment on social media that builds up rather than tears down. I've got a few superheroes myself. And one of them is Mahatma Gandhi, who I think was just the most amazing man. And he is reported to have said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I really do believe in the power of one. And I think that one woman supporting another woman and then that woman paying it forward is the way that this whole mum shaming culture that we're living in now can change and can become as positive as it currently is negative. But it starts with you.
Absolutely. So building
I don't mean you personally.
Yes,
I mean
all of us. And so let's build up sisterhood and let's embrace each other and help each other versus judge each other.
Strong women. May we know them, may we raise them.
May we be them. Wonderful.